Okay, I just want to go through the rest of project one. So hopefully by now you should have already completed your client brief and your 12 concept sketches. And I discussed that in previous lessons and a previous recording, so refer back to those if you need more information about that. But basically with the 12 concept sketches, if we go to project one and work through the learning resources here, there was a template called logo development, and that's where you needed to draw your 12 concept sketches based on the information here. So 3 examples of text logos, 3 examples of symbol logos, and 3 using both text and symbols. The other 3 can be a choice of whatever you would like to do for the last 3. Once you've done that, then you need to upload it back on Moodle in 2 spots actually. You've got the 12 concept sketches upload section of project 1, and you've also got the ideas meeting. And you'll see here in the ideas meeting that a whole bunch of students have already uploaded their concept sketches. So if we have a look, for example, at this top one here, the student has uploaded her sketches. They've explained who the film company is, like what their focus is, who their target audience is, just to give a bit of information. And then each of the students have gone through and explained which 3 logos stand out the most and reflect the company theme and target audience. So what you'll be doing is you'll be uploading your concept sketches on a new post with providing a little bit of information about who the film company is and who they cater for. And then you'll also, so in order to do that, let's just go back to the ideas meeting. All you need to do is click on add a new discussion topic. Just for the subject, put the name of your film company, so let's just say Fantasia Films if it was. You'll put a little blurb here about theme of company and target audience. Okay, so provide a bit of information there, and then you just click on this little arrow here, find your file with all your sketches and upload, and then once you've uploaded it, press post to forum. Once you've done that, then you need to actually provide feedback on all the other students' logo designs. So as part of this course, you need to demonstrate working effectively with other people in the industry. So in order to do that, we're asking you to all provide feedback on each other's logos to provide some assistance. And by doing that also, it gives you a chance to actually work out what appeals to audiences around and what logo of yours might be more appealing based on the feedback that you've been provided. So what you'll need to do, if we just go back to the ideas meeting here, if you have a look on the side here, you're only commenting on the students where the date says 2019. So up here, you see 2019, so only comment on those. And what you're doing is you're going to click on each of them. You're going to have a look at the logos that have been presented, the information that the student has provided, and then you're going to click reply, and you're going to provide feedback on which 3 logos you think stand out or are most effective for that company and why. Okay, and you can actually have a look and see what other students have provided for their feedback. It's always handy to see what information students have discussed. So you'll need to do that for every student. Once you have received a number of feedback from your logo design, that's when you need to actually look at that feedback and work out which 3 logos are the most appealing from your 12 concept sketches. Then what you're going to do is you're actually going to create or write up an evaluation. It's called a concept evaluation. I'm just going to show you an example. And you'll do it all in a Word document, and it looks something like this. So you're writing a letter to myself, who's the production manager, and you're basically explaining that after careful consideration and feedback from the client and from peers, you've decided on whichever 3 logos that you've decided on. put a little screenshot of each 3 logo, and then for each of them you need to explain what it is that makes that logo so appealing and effective for your company. So here you can say that for this particular logo, it says the logo is quite clean, simple and clean. It represents the company themes for modern media quite easily with the play button and not so obvious loading circle around it to represent the rendering that most modern media require. It also has a lot of potential for animation, and if done right, can be easily a crowd pleaser, and so on. So you'll need to do that for each of them. Make sure to mention the target audience. How will it relate or appeal to your particular target audience? So you're basically justifying why you've chosen those particular 3 logos to focus on. Once you've done that, then it's actually time to create. So make sure you save it using the correct naming convention. So first name, last name, underscore concept, underscore evaluation. You'll then need to upload it back in Moodle in the Project 1 section here, where it says evaluation, so you put it in with your 12 concept sketches. The next step, and I'm going through all the instructions that are in the work through the learning resources, so it's really important that you download a copy of this Project 1 instructions, because this provides information about how you should name all your files, where you need to save them, and what you should be focusing on. The next step is to answer some design questions. So basically we've got some six questions here that you'll need to respond to in a Word document. So you need to discuss what the differences between traditional and digital methods are. You need to talk about what the advantages of traditional and digital methods. So think of traditional as, actual practical methods where you're actually using materials that you can hold, so like pens, paper, paint, and so on. Digital methods are more like using computers and software and so on. So advantages of both, disadvantages of both, explaining what a vector is and why it's important to create logos using as vectors, and then also discussing some different design and communication principles that are used to create logo designs. So you'll need to do a bit of research to respond to these. It's really important that you don't copy and paste your answers. You need to be able to understand each of the responses, because I will be asking you in lesson to make sure that you actually understand what a vector is and the difference between traditional and digital methods are, and so on. When you discuss your the 5 different principles that you choose, it's always also beneficial to mention how they might be effective or useful, referring to your own logo designs that you've been working on. So provide some examples if you can. Save your file using the following naming convention: your name underscore project1 underscore research, and then once again uploading in the research question section of Project 1. Next step is then to actually create your 3 vector designs in Illustrator. So basically, and if you follow the instructions here, so if we go down to evaluation, so you've got your research questions, you've got your concept sketches, you've got your concept evaluation that I just went through before, and then the next step is actually creating your vector designs. Now if you have a look here, these are the settings that you need to set your file as. So CMYK for the colouring, 500 by 500 pixels in terms of size, and 300 DPI. Now it's really important to set out your document correctly. So what I'll do, I'm just going to open up my Illustrator, File, New. So if you just go on the right hand side, this is where you can set your pixels, so 500 by 500 pixels. In order to get the color mode as CMYK, if you click on more settings, you can then change that there, and also the 300 ppi as well. And then press create document. So you'll need to do this for each of your 3 logo designs. In order, so basically Illustrator, if you've used Photoshop before, it's sort of similar. I find Illustrator a lot easier to use. And Illustrator is basically a vector-based program. So what that means is it creates these mathematical equations and uses lines and shapes to create shapes or images that when you reduce or increase the size, it doesn't affect the quality, it doesn't become pixelated. And so that's why Illustrator is great, because when you're working as a graphic designer, some of your designs might be placed on different sized formats, so platforms. So you might have a small logo for a business card, but then you might have a really big one on a banner or a poster. So Illustrator is great for being able to use that particular image for different platforms without affecting the quality, basically. So if you have a look here on the left hand side, you should have a range of tools. If you don't have as many tools that I have, when you go up to Window, if you go to Tools, or if it says Toolbar, make sure you click on Advanced. Depends on what version you have, but you should have the same version as what I have. But yeah, if you have trouble finding all the tools, let me know. In order to get started, there's lots of different ways to use Illustrator, so I'm just going to show you some basics, and if you want to know anything in particular, just let me know and we can go through that together. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to use the shape tool. So if I click and hold the little rectangle tool, you'll see that there's a range of other shapes that I could use. So let's just I'll just click on anything. I'm just going to click and drag. So I've created this shape. At the moment it's white inside. If I want to change the color and fill it in, up the top left here you'll see there's a little white square. If I click on that, this is the fill box. Okay, so you can choose whatever colors you want. If you want it to be see-through, so no color, then you click on this little white box with a red line on it. Okay, but I'm just going to choose color. The box on the next to that is the outline. So if you click on this, you can choose like different colored outlines. Oops, so at the moment it's got black, but let's say I chose orange. Now if I click out, you'll see I've got an orange outline there. So it's not very obvious at the moment. So if I wanted to make it thicker, next to that where it says stroke, I can click on the arrow and I can make sure you've got the shape selected first. I click on that and then I can play around with the thickness of the shape. So fill, outline and the thickness of the stroke. You can also play around with the type of outline as well. You can see there, kind of makes it a little bit odd there. There's also, if you go to Window and if you have color selected, you can see I've got a little color box here. So if I'm not really happy with the color, if I select my shape and then just click anywhere in my color box here, I can play around with the color there. And you've got more options of color choices there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so I've created a shape, so you can basically add a variety of shapes over the top of each other. Just move them over. Every time you add a shape, make sure to click on the selection tool afterwards so that you're able to move it. When you're working with your logo, it is important that you put everything on a separate layer. This is going to be really important when you go to work on your animation, because everything needs to be on a separate layer to be able to move it around or animate it. So at the moment I've got everything on layer 1, so I'm just going to Control X, I'm going to cut my second shape out. I'm going to click on this little create new layer icon and then press Control V, and you'll see now I have both my shapes on different layers. So now what I'm going to do, and this is just a guide, like you can do a lot of experimentation, I'm just playing around with shapes at the moment, what I want to do is I want to create a unique shape, and what I want to do is cut this particular shape that's sitting in front of the rectangle out. So in order to do that, I need to highlight or select both of them. I'm going to go to Window and then Pathfinder. You see this box appears. The left-hand shape here is the Unite one, so that joins the shape together, but I actually want to cut it out, so I'm going to click on the minus front. So if I click on that, as you can see, it's cut that shape out that was overlapping over the shape at the back. So I've created this interesting shape. If I want to make it even more interesting, I can go to Effect and Warp, and I've got a whole range of options here that I can play around with. So if I click on Bold, and I can play around with the different examples. I'm not really happy with that, so let's try another one. Warp, let's just go with something like that maybe. I'll just go with that, okay? So you can really play around and create some really interesting shapes. Another way to do it is to use a line tool and just draw your lines. Now at the moment, my line is see-through, so I need to change that so I can actually see. So now if I draw another line here, if I click on my selection tool, I should see two lines. At the moment, it's orange because these are my outline tools, so I need to click on black there if I want it black. So you can use the line tool here, and if you click and hold it down, you've got an arc tool as well if you want to create curved lines and so on. There's also the pen tool. If you click and hold that down, so you can click and drag, and if you want to bend that particular line, once you click on the second point, don't let go of your mouse, and if you move it left or right, you can create a curved line. So now if I let go, I can then click on the anchor, so the last point, and then click at another point. So if I click here, don't let go, and pull it out with my mouse, let go, I've created a curve. And once again, every time you need to click on the anchor to do your next point. So if I go back here and drag it out, click on the anchor again, and back to the next point and curve that out. So I've created like an egg shape. If it's a little bit wonky, you can also click on at the top here where it says convert. If I click on the second one here, that's kind of is meant to help smooth out the lines. Obviously I need to work on that a little bit more because it's a little bit wonky. But that's a great way to, if you want to trace an image, that's always handy as well. As you can see though, what I've done here, I haven't put it on a separate layer. So every time, I just cut that out, new layer, and press paste. Okay, I'm actually going to delete those because I don't need them. You've got text as well. If I click on the text button, go right here, typo films or something. What I could do is I'm actually going to use that as the top of my T. So I'm going to select my text, highlight it. Up the top here I can change the font if I want and adjust the size. And then I might grab my shape tool again, and then grab this. I want to bring fill, and I want an orange outline. And I want to make the stroke quite big. And what I could do as well, oops, I can do that. Then I can maybe play around with the effects again. Oops. Maybe not that. But you can play around and see what. Maybe do something like that. So I've created this interesting kind of T as part of my logo. So let's just pretend this is my logo. When I'm happy with it, then obviously I'm just change that to a different font. So when I'm happy with it, then I basically file, save as, and I need to save it as an AI file, and I also need to save it as a PDF. Okay, so basically the key is to just experiment with all these different tools, see what works best. If there's anything in particular that you're struggling with that you want to create, let me know and we can go through it together. Remember, everything needs to be on a separate layer, so I keep forgetting, but it's really, really important, otherwise you're going to have to go back later and fix it up. So try and get into that habit of everything being on a separate layer. So even anything that you think might need to be moved around in your animation needs to be on a new layer. If you have any questions about Illustrator, as I said, let me know. The other key thing is using YouTube. There are so many tutorials that you can access that go through a range of different features. And as I said, there's so much to do in Illustrator. I'm not going to be able to explain everything. But if there is anything in particular that you want to know, let me know and we can go through that together. Once you have completed your 3 vector logos, you then need to choose which logo is going to be the final logo. So you can see here, when you do your vector logos, these are what you need to save each of your files as. Okay? And then you need to fill in the logo justification document. So you choose the final logo that you're going to focus on that reflects your film company theme and target audience. And then you need to download the logo justification document, which is in the Work Through the Learning resources. You'll see here this Word document, logo justification. And what you need to do is basically, if you can put a little screenshot of your chosen logo, that would be great because it makes it easier to know what logo you're referring to. Put your name and which number logo you've decided on. And then in 100 to 150 words, you need to explain why you've chosen that particular logo. Okay, so why have you chosen it? What stands out? How does it reflect your theme, your target audience? Why is it going to be the most suitable logo for your company? Then you need to pull your logo apart. You need to explain why you used the particular colours that you used. And remember, with any effective logo, no more than 3 colours. Okay, and simple is key. So where it says identify element, you write down what colours. So I'd say green and orange. Okay, I chose these because they contrast, so they stand out against each other, and they just stand. They add to the aesthetics of the design. So they basically make it really appealing. Fonts, so obviously here, if I click on my font here, I chose Arial Black. So I write Arial Black, and then I explain why, easy to read, matches the rest of the design, and so on. Where it says possible icons, visual metaphors, you might have, something like a film strip or a camera or something that, highlights, or like a wand if it's like a fantasy theme. So you would explain what that is and then why you've used it, so, to help highlight the theme of the company. And then also you would explain what kind of shapes and lines and textures and so on you used as well, and why. Okay? If you have any questions about this document, let me know. Once you have completed that document, so that document then also gets uploaded to Moodle, once again, in the Work Through the Learning resources here. In the 3 approved concept ideas, vector-based and evaluation. So your 3 vector logos, your PDF ones, and your evaluation or your logo justification will go in here. The next step is your business card. So let's say that I've chosen this as my final design. I'm just going to select all of it. Oops, got the text button still open. So I'm going to select all of it, press Ctrl C, and I'm going to create a new file. And if I go back to my instructions quickly, you'll see that with the business card here, it says that I need to set out my business card by 85 by 55 millimeters. So let's go back here. So change this to millimeters. 85 by 55. Press create. So I've got a business card size now. I can paste my design. Obviously my design is really big, so I need to drag that in. Obviously because my outline is quite thick, it's kind of not worked out very well. So if I just reduce stroke size there. Okay, so let's just pretend this is my logo, and you need to do a bit of research, get a bit of a feel for what designs stand out the most. On your business card, you need to have all the contact details. So you need to have name of the company, phone number, email address, website, and if you want, a slogan. So you know, some companies come up with really catchy slogans to make the company stand out a bit more, to give a bit more of an insight about what the company's about. So it's up to you if you want to have a slogan or not. So make sure that all the information is easy to read and follow. And if we have a look here, you can see have a look at some examples here. Some logos will have like the logo and the details on the same side. So for example, this one here, so you've got your logo and the information. And some also have the logo on the back of the business card as well. So if you want to do that, that's great. Just create another side of your business card. But if you follow this, you know, all the information is kept pretty close together. It's not too big, and obviously it's not, it doesn't overcrowd or take over the logo. So you want the logo to stand out, but you also want the details to be easy to read and follow. So have a look at the design, and obviously you want to try and make your design relate to your theme and target audience as well. Okay, so they're quite simple designs, so try not to make it too overwhelming. So basically you create your business card. Once you've done that, then you will save that once again as an Illustrator file and a PDF. Upload it to the business card section in Moodle here, find a business card. And then the last step is a timesheet. So for every project, you should be recording the amount of hours that you spent on each part of the task. And this is really important when you're working as a graphic designer in a company. You need to be able to justify how many hours you spent in order to work out how much you charge the client. So what you'll need to do is, if you go up to step 3 in Moodle, you'll see that there's a Word document here where it says timesheet. So what you'll need to do is just download that, fill in all the details, the date, what activities you did, and roughly how long you spent, calculate the amount of hours, and sign the document. And then once again, upload that document in the business card and timesheet section. Once you've done that, project 1 is complete, and you've then managed to follow the process that would be involved if you were to work as a graphic designer. This is the process that is involved in creating a logo design for a client. If you have any questions about project 1, please let me know. It's really important that we stick to the deadlines, so I will be emailing out some deadlines for you to follow. And we need to get them done as soon as possible so we can move on to the next project, because the next few projects involve a lot more work than this one, so we want to try and get this project out of the way as soon as possible. Any questions, please let me know.